Hi there. Okay, we're ready to move on to the power rule, our third exponent property. So be sure you have your other parts of your chart filled in. And now we're going on to the power rule. So in this property, power is another word for exponent. So it's the exponent raised to an exponent rule. So the property says to raise a power to a power, you're going to keep the base and multiply the exponents. So now we see two exponents or two powers. That's why we call it the power rule. So moving over to our example, we have the base, and now we have double exponents, a power of a power, or a power rule. So the property says we keep the base and we multiply the exponents. Okay, so here's an example. 2 to the 4th raised to the 3rd power. So the property says we keep the base, keep the 2, and we multiply the exponents. So we get 2 to the 12th, because 4 times 3 is 12. So here's how it looks when we expand it. So 2 to the 4th power is right here. In parentheses, we have 2 to the 4th power. So we expand it, 2 times 2 times 2. And then the raised to the 3rd power means there's 3 groups of this. So 2 to the 4th power is in here, and then 3 groups of that. So now we would count up all those 2's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's 2 to the 12th power. Now this will take quite a bit of time expanding it. That is why we do the shortcut, which is to keep the base and multiply the exponents. Let's move over to the apply the property. So 3 to the 4th raised to the 2nd power. The property says keep the base. So we're going to keep the base and multiply the exponents. So we get 3 to the 8th power. Now I do want to take a second to show you what this looks like if we expanded it, why this works. So in the parentheses we have 3 to the 4th power, which would look like this if I expanded it. And the second exponent says there's 2 groups of this. So there's group 1 and here's group 2. So how many 3's do we have? 3 to what power? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 3 to the 8th power. So it does work. Now in this space, we want you to create your own. So now come up with your own example. You can use the parentheses. You choose the base. I'm going to choose an X this time. You choose whatever you want. You choose the exponent and you raise the exponent. So here's another example that I just made up. You're making up your own. So the property says keep the base and multiply the exponents. Okay, so you create your own right there. And now for the final column, we're going to see what it looks like with a coefficient. Now here's a coefficient. So this is a lot more challenging, but when we have an exponent on the outside, every single thing gets raised to the 3rd power. Okay, so this would be 2 to the 3rd power, and then m to the second to the third, so we keep the base and multiply the exponents, and then n to the third power. And we can go one more step right here. 2 to the third power means 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So our final answer would look like this. Okay, so when you have coefficients, you know that exponent went all the way to each item in the parentheses. It applied to each one. All right, the front of your sheet should all be filled in at this point. And from here, we've learned 3 out of the 5 property rules. We're going to practice this one next.